Welcome back to Go and Grow Homestead, everyone. In today's video, we're going to take a quick peek at the garden to see how it's doing. This is one of our many apple trees that are in the yard, and we don't do a whole lot with them. We have trimmed the trees some, but they were allowed to severely overgrow by the former owners who just stopped maintaining them. So they're kind of out of control and really hard to reel back at this point. Also, from what I've read and done a lot of apple tree research, it's really difficult to do bug prevention or even something that reduces the amount of bugs that you have on your apples, eating away at them, causing, too many dark marks to where you can't really enjoy them yourself. It's really hard to do that naturally. There aren't a lot of natural pest deterrents for apple trees, apparently. So there are some things you can do, but again, it's a lot of work, a lot of effort, and it's still not gonna really prevent some things. So our apple trees are a future project for us, kind of an ongoing thing. And right now they produce so many, but that's the other thing, because they're not trimmed back, they just produce a bunch of small apples. These will still grow a little bit more before, fully ripening and being great food for nature. But we don't mind that right now. It's just not a project we can take on that we have time to deal with. And the deer love them when they fall to the ground, or when they're on the low hanging branches here. But also when they fall to the ground, other animals get a lot of benefit out of them. Right now, they're more for the animals than for us. Okay, so for today's video, I am going to walk around the garden, kind of show you how everything is doing, and then also kind of go over some, I don't know if we'll call them mistakes, but just some things to watch out for, things you might want to be more prepared for than, say, I was. And again, I have a lot of gardening experience, but every year things still happen, and for me it's usually a thing of time. I just don't have the time to get out here and manage things properly, or I had fantastic ideas 3 months ago, but actually making them come to fruition when you have a very busy full life outside of gardening is pretty hard to do. So we'll get started, we'll go around and I'll show you what we've got. So first, I just wanted to show you this wonderful entryway and how it's developing along. Nature's providing this natural ground cover right here. I think those are violets without the flowers. But that's kind of like a nice, beautiful, low to the ground, not in the way, carpet entrance into the garden. And then here are the wonderful morning glories that a lady at church gave me the seeds for from her garden. And they're doing really well. I've been training them, coming out here every other day and just making sure they're wrapping the way that they should, but this is what I wanted them to do, and they're doing a great job of that. Moving on to our broccoli, it's hanging in there. I'm not sure how it's going to do. We will see. Again, I've mentioned in a previous video that a lot of our plants are just behind. You can see by the empty holes, some of the things just didn't germinate. It is what it is. I do have specialty cover that I'm going to put on this, hopefully if I get some time, maybe over this coming weekend, just to prevent that bug damage. You can already see some of it starting there, but as it gets bigger, it'll get those cabbage bugs that like anything in the brassica family. So those bugs will attack anything that's considered a brassica vegetable. And then my garden obelisks, which I'm using for the acorn squash. I have built 3 of them. I have 2 more to build. My wonderful husband helped me yesterday. I built 2 more of these yesterday in the intense heat that we're having. And he helped cut more of the longer posts that I'm using for, just from cutting our own wood that we have out in the woods. I told him, I said, hey, I was doing this in a rush, but again, trying to find straighter ones would help. This part isn't so bad because it kind of adds some character to it. They don't have to be completely straight. A little bit bowed is fine, etc. But I've realized that having the straight poles on the sides is better for it. It's going to make it stand up better, make it function better overall. The thing I'd like to point out here with these, so the plants themselves are doing amazing. Nothing really to report there. That one, I just put that out last night and I rested the leaves against it. And it's already starting to do its thing. It'll grab on with this thing and start winding around and going upwards. And then I'll continue to help train it as needed. But I had intended, and I can do this over the fall, too when gardening season is over. I had intended to cut the bottoms of these a little bit sharper, maybe whittle them down with a knife, something that's going to make a point so that it would stab in the ground and hold on better. I think what I'm going to end up having to do, just for time's sake, believe it or not, it's easier or faster at this point, to just maybe bring some bricks down and put them around the base to brace this, because as this grows up, it's going to get so much heavier, and I don't want it to tip over just from heaviness or from wind and heaviness coming through, because surely we're going to get more crazy storms at some point. And I don't want it to tip over. Obviously, that will kill the plant when that happens. But I just didn't have time to go through and properly cut everything. And then when I did put these out here yesterday, as you can see, I cut some more holes in my cloth here and tried to put it down into the ground at least a little bit just to help give it some kind of footing. But the ground is so hard right now because that part of the ground is really dry. It's very hot. We're at that part of the season where it just is what it is. And when I come out here to water, I'm just watering the plants. So I'm just watering around the holes where they're at. And sure, some of the rest of the ground will get wet too, but it's not enough that it's penetrating way down and making the ground soft or keeping it soft. It's very hard. So it's time of whittling all 4 sticks down, and then the effort of trying to jab it into the ground anyway. It's actually easier to haul bricks down here is what I'm saying. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're going to be doing something like this. And then these were the second set of peas that I attempted to grow. They are not doing very well, and there's a few reasons for that. When we go look at the other set of peas, you'll be able to see the difference very clearly. But these are smaller, not just because they're newer, but they kind of look a little bit sparse, a little bit not healthy. You see the leaves towards the base are dried out. It's been very, very hot. And even though I planted these in the week where it wasn't hot, they started germinating when it got hot, and now we're in another very hot week. I don't know if you can hear the bugs in the background. Those bugs indicate that it's very hot. And the other thing that I knew better, guys. I knew better. Again, I knew better, but I didn't have time to get out here and address it. These, I thought I could get these posts to go closer to the ground, but really they're meant to kind of stay where they're at, and a good portion of the pole is already well under the ground. So I didn't want to jab those big things through the cloth and then all the way down the ground farther. But as you can see, the metal stops right there, and the poor little peas are way down here. When you have peas, they're meant to trellis, and you need to plan accordingly for that. I meant to just go and extend some wires down from these to make it longer so that the peas could climb easier and quicker. As soon as they start growing, they need to have something to vine up on, otherwise they fall over, which also doesn't help with their overall health. And then they start to vine onto each other, and they'll just become a big pile on the ground. And yeah, you may get a few peas, but it's not going to make for healthy pea plants. And guys, I'm so happy to report that even though the leaves still look a little rough, the strawberry plants have recovered. I think a lot of the things I did to come down here and clean that out helped a lot. There's another one over there about to turn red. There's several over here on this side. You've got, some nice big whitish ones. There's a couple turning. There's another white one that will turn. There's another beauty. So we're definitely going to get a few more strawberries before the season is over, and it's about the middle of July, so that is nice. Now, the other thing I did early this morning was weed this. The grasses and weeds and wheat that was in here was up to my waist. So that all needed to go, and I'm really glad I did that. This is that second strawberry patch that I just threw in real quick in the fall last year. I will get more of the landscaping cloth to cover this time instead of the straw, but there are some strawberries growing in here too. There's some white ones, so for the health of the strawberries and the fact that this wasn't just meant to be a weed patch, that really needed to be done. So I'm glad we got that done. It also looked terrible, so this looks a whole lot better now. The 4 blueberry plants that I have are doing pretty well. They're hanging in there. I've been harvesting a few blueberries off of them. That damage that I saw before, I'm not sure, again, if that was bug damage or from the hail causing some kind of stress on it, but the berries have recovered, and any new berries that are growing are looking really good. We've eaten several rounds of them now, and they've been great. And again, look at how well the rhubarb plants are doing. They have just come back like crazy, and I need to get out here and harvest those one more time too. And the carrot plants are doing pretty well. Of course, they would like more of these, and there's some empty holes again for things that didn't germinate, but they're doing pretty good for what they are. Last year I tried growing my carrots in pots. Other years I've tried growing them in raised beds. Carrots are actually really picky with their soil, water, weather preferences, so they're kind of hard to grow. So I'm glad that I've gotten them to this point. Now, one thing that can happen though is you'll pull them out of the ground at the end of the season. They'll be taller, bushier than this, healthy. They'll look like they're ready. You do the scrape test where you scrape around this part of it right here. You scrape the dirt away and you go, yeah, you know, the top of it looks like this. It looks like it's this big around. Therefore, the rest of the carrot all the way down should be ready. And then you'll pull it out of the ground and it's just kind of fat at the top and then it's short the rest of the way. So again, carrots are finicky. We'll see what we get this year, but I might have enough for a couple of salads, or maybe I'll have enough to freeze like I wanted to do mixed veggies or things like putting them in roasts. And my lettuce is finally doing really well. Again, not all of the seeds germinated. That butterfly that you just saw on screen is flying around my head right now. Anyway, these are two varieties of lettuce that I planted. There's a good shot to see the differences right there. They're doing great. They're doing well. We haven't eaten any yet. I certainly could. I could take some off of this. Those plants that are that size are ready to go. I just haven't had a chance to get down here and harvest and then rinse it and actually eat it. Obviously, lettuce doesn't save very well, so whenever you pick it, you need to be ready to eat it right then or, you know, within the day. That's kind of why. I'm just leaving it here where it can be healthy and keep growing. And it's okay that not everything grew because that's already more lettuce than we will eat as a family of 3. And this is one of the potato patches that I have, and I had cleared out weeds from here, and I said, hey, if there's something I want to plant here, then I'll have a space to do that. So somebody else that we go to church with, their garden is doing really well this year, and they had planted 2 brand new rows of tomatoes, and those tomatoes are looking amazing and even bigger and healthier than these plants are. But the rows kind of next to where they decided to plant their tomatoes this year just exploded with all of these volunteer tomatoes. So meaning they had, you know, tomatoes come up from last year that they weren't planning on, they don't really need. So I think I grabbed 8 or 10 plants from her and I shared with my other family members, and basically we transplanted these healthy tomato plants. They look a little wilty right now. Those 2 I just put in the ground this morning, so that's not surprising. Those 2 I put in last night. They're slightly better, but still kind of wilty looking. That's normal with the transplant process, but also with how hot it is. So I watered everything last night. I'll water again tonight when it's not so scorching hot out like it is right now. And they should recover. They do already have tomatoes growing on them, so that was kind of why we wanted to get those. And also why she was offering, because they don't need that many tomatoes. And then here are the tomato plants that I planted from seed. Finally taking off, doing well enough, but again, they're not fruiting yet. Don't seem to be close to doing that. So we'll see what we actually get from them. And here are the bush beans. They're doing amazing. They recovered really well from the hail. I did plant a couple of new plants, but these are the originals that were out here. So I'm going to show you where the green beans are. There's one. These 2 that you can see on my hand, those are, let's see, we saw another long one over here. That right there is a green bean. So all of them are looking like that basically. I'm very happy with how they're doing. And here are my original peas plants that I planted by seed, that Daniel and I did that together in a video. As you can see, they're much healthier, doing a whole lot better. They have the wonderful white flowers, which are gonna help turn into peas. They're just taking off. They were planted at the right time when weather conditions were really good. So I'm not surprised. I'm glad they're doing well, but we had planted extra because I had noticed not everything germinated over here either out of all of the holes. And last year I had some kind of animal come in here. I'm assuming it was a rabbit, but it could have been a number of things. Something come in here and ate off the tops to all of these plants when they were about 1/2 inch to 1 inch tall. So I got almost no peas last year. So I just was anticipating that might be a problem again this year, and I planted extra for that reason. But you can see like the system I have here is one good way to do it. These are kind of rickety and I don't know, they're just okay. I'm not going to fully recommend them, but they're okay. If you have something like this, that'll work. Clearly it's working for these peas. I've used them for a couple seasons now, and they do just fine. And we'll just go over one section of the potatoes today. You guys remember when I gave the weeds a haircut? Can you even tell where the potato plants are again? So yeah, the weeds are insane, and they grew back again. At some point I will cut them down again, maybe just one more time. And then we'll just let nature be, and we'll let it do what it does. But I wanted to show you the potato plants. They are very healthy. That kind of in the center of my shot is a potato plant. There are the flowers on the potato plants. And last but not least, let's check in with the decorative pumpkin plants. So these are doing amazing. I can't say enough good things about how well they're growing. Let's see. When I was out here this morning doing some things, the flowers were opening up on these over here. Look at that beautiful flower. I was looking for some pollination this morning. There's a couple more. These are flowers that are closed up. There's one. That one was open too this morning. They're going to do really well. And actually this one with the leaf looks a little bit different and has the stripes in it. I think that's round zucchini actually. I planted some of that last year, realized I absolutely hate zucchini. It does grow really well and really easily, but I don't like it. And the round zucchinis looked more like a decorative pumpkin, so I kept some of the seeds just to have them for decoration, even though technically those will be edible. But you can see how that leaf style is just a little different than, say, this leaf style. Well, I said last but not least, and then I forgot a couple of rows of things over here, so we'll just go through it really quick because I'm literally cooking out here. It is very hot, you guys. This is parsnip, so they're doing just okay. Again, I caught slugs eating the tops of the plants over here on this end of the garden, so that's why we have a lot of empty holes, but it is what it is. I might try to plant more because it stays warm through October here, so we might be able to have some things do well then. And these are my bell pepper plants, so still way too tiny. They should be doing more by now. I wish they were, but hey, if they grow at all, I'll be very happy with that, given that we only have a handful of them. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us today. Please like, subscribe, share the channel, share this video. Of course, that is what helps us grow here at Go and Grow Homestead. And I hope you found today's video helpful. Hopefully you learned a few things, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.